Are you living your passion? What is your passion? Welcome to the Luxe Life Discovered podcast, where we talk with people who are living a lifestyle that reflects their passion, because we believe everyone should enjoy living their best life, their Luxe Life.
Hello, I'm Rick Steiner, and we're back with another podcast of Luxe Life Discovered. Our guests today are George and Nathalie Barreto and Blue Magnolia LLC. So welcome to the podcast today.
Thank you. Thank you
so
for
much for
having
having
us.
us.
Oh, I'm glad. I, of course, have followed you on Instagram for a while with your Blue Magnolia catering and your charcuterie boards. So as we were talking just a minute ago, presentation is everything in that aspect, and you guys do a phenomenal job with that.
Thank you.
So tell me a little about your background, how you got into the business, and your connection with the 30A PCB area.
Okay, so I'm originally from here. I was actually born in New Orleans, but we moved here when I was 7.
Okay.
So, Destin, Santa Rosa Beach, that's my home. And then growing up, I have an entrepreneurial dad. So he was always in the restaurant industry, construction industry, anything of that sort. So he taught me what it's like to be an entrepreneur and to, work for yourself and be passionate about what you do. So that's always kind of been an underlying tone for me in my work. My background has been in PR and marketing. So I went to Ole Miss. I'm a rebel. I'm a hottie-toddy kind of girl. So definitely a rebel in these parts, especially with so many Florida fans and FSU fans. But anyways, so marketing and PR has been my passion, and that's what I've been doing for the past 7-8 years. And prior to COVID, I actually kind of branched out and started my own marketing agency. Well, as you know, the first thing to go when a global pandemic hits is your marketing retainer.
Right.
So having that background of culinary and restaurants and presentation and all of that stuff, entertainment, I took that and I took a step back, from what was happening in 2020. And I just kind of took a moment to kind of regroup, see what I was going to do, if I was going to ride out the storm and have my marketing agency, lift back up, or what really was going to happen. So it's kind of funny, and we now joke about it 2 years later, 3 years later. The first Thanksgiving that we had as a combined family, which my family and my boyfriend's family, which he's Italian, so we're all into food. And his family is also into restaurants. And so I did this huge spread on an island table, and it covered the whole island, which, what was it, Dad, like 8 feet?
I would say about 8 feet, yes.
Something like that. And so his mom just kept talking about the boards and the punch and the shrimp cocktails and all of the small plates that we had along that island. And it was so funny because she would always mention, she would say, well, what are you doing in the meantime with your marketing? Maybe you should start, a small charcuterie business. And I would brush her off and I would say, no, that's not me. I really love, helping small businesses with their marketing and their PR. Then another month happened and another month went by, and she goes, well, how's your marketing agency? Like, has it picked up? And I was like, no, it's still really slow.
Yeah.
So she goes.
This episode of Luxe Life Discovered is brought to you in part by Steiner Event Group. Steiner Event Group is a national event planner that produces results for their clients. They offer event and wedding planning on any scale, hosting bridal shows, scouting talented models, and producing riveting concept photo shoots to help their clients expand their brands, products, and services. Whether you're a business professional aiming to take your brand to the next level, planning a corporate or private event, a bride seeking to have the wedding of your dreams, or a model ready to be discovered, Steiner Event Group is ready for you.
Well, what about you try, the charcuterie? Why don't you see it?
Yeah.
And so finally, I kind of listened to her, and then Dad was in Memphis with me because I was in Memphis, Tennessee at that time. And we were in my garage, and we had this 10-foot whiteboard because that's where, I did all my work for my clients on that big board. And so I told Dad, I was like, Dad, I have this concept for back home that I don't think anybody is doing as of yet. And what do you think about doing a charcuterie company? And so he goes, I love it. Like, let's do it. So I took my dad out of retirement and brought him back into the food industry, which is what he loves. But that day we filled that entire board with the concept and the idea of Blue Magnolia. And here we are a year and a couple months later, and it's the most fulfilling and gratifying business that I could have ever imagined being displayed to me.
Does your boyfriend's mother get a percentage?
Oh, man.
I really hadn't thought about that. We'll just erase this part. No, I'm kidding.
Miss Sherry, if you're listening,
Right.
I'll
sorry.
see what I can do for you.
And on a side note, I went to Mississippi State for a couple of years.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Hale State.
yes, a hottie toddy.
Right.
Oh yeah. And then
awesome.
our farms are like an hour from Memphis in Arkansas.
Okay.
And so I grew up in Memphis. So I'm very familiar with Memphis. So
Yeah.
so we have a lot of connections that we didn't realize we had.
That's crazy. So I'm assuming Jonesboro.
Yes, we live there. That's where I went to. I finished college in Jonesboro, and that's where I met my wife.
Arkansas State.
Yes.
All right.
Go Wolves. They used to be Indians when I was there, and I always still want to say Indians, but Red Wolves are what they are now.
If
So.
you continue talking, Natalie's going to know somebody in your family.
I know.
Everywhere she
I believe
goes,
that.
she knows people.
We might find out we worked together on a project and just didn't put it together. So,
Who knows?
So funny.
well, George, tell me about your background, because you were or did have a restaurant at one time. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Many years back, I had a restaurant on 38, and it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of work. I had it for 3.5 years, and it was breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And started with a small group of people, and ended up having 48 employees, and it grew.
Oh, wow.
So, but it was years and years back before 38 was really the way it is today. So anyway, Natalie has always had a passion for food and stuff like that, because when she was little, I used to bring her to the restaurant.
Right.
And she used to love, being in there and tasting all the different stuff that we used to do, and helping around, like the waiters and waitresses and stuff like that. So anyway, going back to the idea of Blue Magnolia is really amazing, because I believe that when you work from the point of view of love and passion, things really develop. And the board, that wall board talking about, we still have it.
Really, that's good. Yeah.
We still have it, because it's really amazing how you can go ahead and come up with an idea, a concept in your mind, and be able to go ahead and say, okay, what are we going to call it?
Right.
Do you think Blue Magnolia would be a nice name, a beautiful name? I say, oh, that sounds beautiful. Let's go ahead and do it from love,
And there's a good Southern tie-in as well. So yes.
Absolutely.
Well,
So then,
the name, and I'm sorry, Dad, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but the name has a very significant meaning for us. So Magnolia, each state that we've lived in has had magnolia trees.
Right.
And Blue, so we have a Bichon who passed away last year, and his name is Bello, and so we would always call him our Blue. And he would always have, blue collars, blue everything, and we would always say our boy in blue. And so when we first started Blue Magnolia, he was getting sick. And so we kind of did it as an honor to him. And on our business cards, we have like a paw print at the right bottom corner for him. So
that's interesting.
So it's very significant to us.
Right.
it means a lot.
Well, sure. And like I said, the presentation is amazing, because there are other, businesses like yours now, but yours stands out more than the majority, because your presentation's great and your product is great as well. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. They always want to jump on the bandwagon sometime, but if you're not ready or if you're not capable, you kind of fall flat on your face if you don't do your research first, And so hats off to you guys for doing such an amazing job.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that. Thank
And
you.
going back to something you mentioned about your business years ago and before 30A blew up, what are your thoughts on 30A in this area now? All the
Oh my goodness!
growth.
It's such a beautiful place. 38 is such a beautiful place. This whole Florida Panhandle is such a beautiful place. Anytime you come into Florida State, from Pensacola all the way down this way, it's just gorgeous. And the beautiful lakes that we have on 38, the beautiful scenic routes that we have, that road.
Right.
And the amount of people that we get, visitors coming from everywhere.
Right.
They fall in love with this area, with this whole area, Panama City, all of this is just really unbelievable, and we love it. It's like being on vacation all the time because you see all these license plates, from all these different states. Right. And when people are here that come on vacation, normally, they come with such a big smile. They're happy, they're excited, they're surrounded with their loved ones, their family members, and they don't want to leave. They want to stay.
And a lot of them are staying.
And you can't blame them for that.
That's true.
You cannot blame them for that. So, it's like being on vacation all the time. And we love our customers. We love what we do. Once again, we try to do everything from love and passion and create relationships and friendships, everlasting, long-lasting friendships, which, as a matter of fact, we have a lot of customers that repeats.
Good, yeah.
They come, they visit, they leave, and then they want to come back, like a couple of months later, and they call us again. And, it happens 3 and 4 times.
That's good, yeah. And that type of relationship is key to success as well, and to building on that, what you've established already, because as an event planner, I have, I'm doing weddings and events for clients that have referred me to other members in their family. I hope, so far I've never had any repeat brides, so that's good, but they're still all together, so that's a good part. Yes. But with corporate events, for example, or cousins of brides that we've worked with in the past, it's kind of fun to work with the families again. And, like you said, you do establish good relationships and connections with the people with whom you work. So
that's right. Yeah. That's right.
And that's something that's very important to us. I worked at just a PR firm in downtown Memphis where you didn't really establish those relationships. It was just a number. And then I moved on to St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, and that way you form those relationships. You see those patients. I worked with a lot of patients and their families doing the marketing and the PR, and it totally takes the perspective of business relationships to another level. So when we started Blue Magnolia, I said, Dad, our main goal is to establish relationships. I don't want our customers to be another number. I don't want them to be another price tag. I want to form these relationships with them, and that's what we do. We every time we take a call or an order, we always say, well, where are you coming from? What are you doing? And we try to establish a rapport, because they don't know us, we don't know them, but we want them to trust us with their order and with the whole process of it. So.
St. Jude.
Yes.
I volunteered as a tour guide every Friday for 5 years at St. Jude.
Oh, that's awesome.
And is that not a magnificent place?
Oh,
and
it's
we're going to plug it real quick. I'm sorry, but I was just amazed. We had a young man at Murray State, that's where we live in Kentucky now, who came to play football at Murray State. And we had a guy from one of the players from Texas stay in the summer with us who had shown Harris around for his visit. And so he was going through 2 days, kept bruising real badly, and so they did some lab work, and he was diagnosed with leukemia. And so within probably 7 hours, he was a patient at St. Jude. He was right at that borderline, for the age, to be too old. But so I was going back to our farm one day, and the guy that was staying with me, he said, would you stop by and visit Harris for me? And I'm like, sure, and then as closer I got to Memphis, I went by St. Jude my whole life, had never been there. And then as closer I got, I'm thinking, well, first of all, I don't know this young man, and I'm going to see him, so it's kind of weird. And plus, I don't want to go to St. Jude, because you have this, it's because if you're there, you're sick, and so you think, you just don't know what to expect that first time. Yeah. But I gave the young man my word, so I stopped by to visit with Harris. And when I left that day, this was in the first part of August. And when I left his room that day, he goes, so are you going back to Murray on Thursday? I said, yeah. And he goes, well, I need you to stop by again. So from that point to mid-February, I was at St. Jude twice a week, if not going during the week. If he crashed or something and they need to get him from the Ronald McDonald House back to St. Jude, I'd go help his mom. And Harris is in his mid-30s now, and we have a unique bond, but I fell in love with St. Jude because it's not depressing at all. It is those little kids, that optimism, and you leave, and I've always felt guilty when I left because it's like, I'm supposed to be giving to these people, and they're giving me more, and just, oh, wow. So
beautiful.
Sorry about that, but you mentioned that.
We love it. We love it.
So, yeah.
No,
We love it.
any time that I can talk about, the mission of St. Jude, it's just phenomenal. I haven't worked there in a couple of years, but I still think about it day in and day out, and everything that was instilled in me while working there. They say that Disney World is the happiest place on earth. No, I really think St. Jude is the happiest place on earth.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah. I was...
With By the Sea Resorts, you have so many options, you never have to settle. By the Sea Resorts offers 5 restaurants and 11 hotels where you can enjoy the sights and the sounds of the Gulf, spread out in spacious guest rooms. Or book your next event or meeting in one of our many customizable spaces. For dining, we're serving up sunshine and good times at all 3 of our Barefoot restaurant locations. Or experience waterfront dining at the Shrimp Boat Restaurant. And enjoy live entertainment every weekend at House of Bourbon. By the Sea Resorts. We're saving you a front row seat.
Very pleased and honored that I was able to do that for so long, and then to meet the Thomases, and
Yes, Mark.
just to work with them and on different events as well. That was huge. Yeah. So, and their passion, not just the dad, his vision when he started it, but to see how Terry and Tony and Marlo have kept that going is really impressive. So, yeah. So back to your business. Sorry, little rabbit we chased there, but hey. So what area do you cover with your business?
We cover all aspects. So do you mean location?
Location and your catering part too.
Yeah. So we cover from Pensacola all the way to Panama City.
Okay.
Anywhere in between. So Niceville, Crestview, Defuniak Springs, Shalimar, wherever in between the Pensacola and Panama City. And then as far as what we offer, our options, Dad, do you want to talk a little bit about this, about our menu spread? And
Natalie has her hands right on the menu. I'll let you
You'll let her talk.
So obviously now you could tell the relationship of who Blue Magnolia is. Dad's more in the back and I'm more in the front.
He's the worker, you're the talker. No, I'm just kidding. No.
No, but kind of.
No, I'm just playing.
But anyway, so we not only have charcuterie, but we do offer different varieties of charcuterie. So whether that's veggies and fruits, desserts, sandwich boards that we also call into charcuterie because it's on our wooden board. We have small plates. We do classes. We do in-home dining, which we have several different menus. We try to be all inclusive,
Okay.
and not limit the market. So, yeah. Do you want to?
We do amazing Cuban sandwiches because I was born in Cuba.
Okay.
I'm from Cuba, so we do amazing Cuban sandwiches. So all the things that we do, are really, really, really amazing. And once we put them on the board or on our beautiful boxes, it's really, really beautiful. And Natalie mentioned something to me not too long ago that really made an impression. She mentioned about, for so many years, we wanted to make sure that we got these beautiful gifts at home.
Oh yeah.
And so then every box that we do, every board that we do is like it's like a gift. It's a
Right.
gift.
Yeah.
So it's not just the food that is inside of the box or on the wood board, but it's the wrapping, it's the little details of the presentation, as you mentioned, that really satisfies us. Because when we bring it to the customer, it's like, here is a gift, a beautiful gift.
Right, and they're not just getting food; they're like getting a gift. Yeah,
a beautiful
exactly.
gift wrapped, with a bowl and the little, sticker that goes in there. It's just a gift. It's a gift of food, of love, of passion.
All right, with this Cuban background and the Cuban food and the Italian background, I want to come to dinner with you guys.
Hey, you're welcome to come anytime.
I mean, I don't think one more is going to hurt, So
Our doors are open.
Yes.
well, good. So, give everybody your site address and your Instagram ID so that they'll be sure to follow you on the social media.
So we are Blue Magnolia on Instagram. We are Blue Magnolia Catering on Facebook. And then they can reach us on our website at www.bluemagnoliacatering.com. Feel free to give us a call anytime. It's 850-502-7406. And we'd be happy to, be a small part of any event.
Well, that's great. And you guys represent exactly the reason why I wanted to start this podcast here, because we've come here for years on vacation. I've been coming for years on vacation and love the area. And then after Hurricane Michael, we spent a week down the week after and volunteered with the local drop-off center and got really a community connection, And so it wasn't just from a tourist standpoint then. And so I've just been amazed over the last 16 months, the level of talent and just individuals, the diversity of backgrounds. And, it's again, someone like you that's retired, and then your daughter has brought you out of retirement to start a new business, but you're living your passion. And that's what this whole podcast is about. And so you guys definitely represent that well. And I'm honored to meet you guys and have you both on my podcast today.
It has been a pleasure.
Good.
Having us.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you so much for having us.
You're welcome. Okay, so tell me what your future plans are for your business.
Okay, so we're so excited. Right now we're going through an expansion process of our office. So we're going to have about triple the space of what we already have. And we want it to be a working space.
You're fine.
And we want it to be a working space. So what that means is we're going to have classes, charcuterie classes, hopefully cooking classes, some wine tastings and cheese pairings and stuff like that. So that is now in development. And construction was supposed to be finalized for December, but of course with everything, we got pushed back a little bit. So it'll be at the beginning of 2022, which we're so excited about.
So good. So like bachelorette nights out, ladies' night out, or not just men too, for that matter. I mean, goodness, there's so many different options with that. Yeah, because men do. I don't cook, so I most of my friends, they at least grill, and I don't do anything. I just eat. So my wife is like, "You mean you don't even grill?" I'm like, "No, sorry, but I don't." So, but so as far as like bridesmaids luncheon, weddings, catering, how do you fit in with all of that as well?
Yeah, so we do all the things. So what we're really known for in the bridal sector is that morning brunch. So we bring our brunch boards, our sandwich boards, charcuterie boards to the brides and their bridesmaids as they're getting ready for their big day. Right. But then we also have cocktail hour that we're starting to get known for our charcuterie cones and our charcuterie tables. So that's kind of how we are sectoring ourselves into the wedding aspect.
How are the cones coming across? I've seen your post about that, and I've never had a charcuterie cone. So is that going over well?
Yeah. So surprisingly, it's very, very popular. So we have different options. So anything that we do can be customizable, whether it's with the cone or doing a charcuterie cup in a mason jar, in a boat. Anything we do can be customizable, but everyone really loves the cone idea because it's simple. They just hold it in their hand. There's picks and everything, so they just hold and eat. They can have a glass of champagne on the other hand. Right. So it's just everyone loves it.
That way you're not carrying a tray. That makes sense. So okay, when you're meeting with a client, or regardless of whether it's a luncheon or cocktail hour or whatever, how do you decide what to prepare? I mean, and make it unique and not just a duplication of what you did 30 minutes ago for somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Because you keep it customized, right? Yes. Okay.
So it's so funny because when we first started Blue Magnolia, it was a very family-oriented business, which it still is. It's me, my dad, my mom, my grandma was helping. She's 84 years old, and bless her heart. She was like cubing cheeses for us and doing our prep work. So it's so funny because we would have her helping us, and she would say, none of the boards that you do ever look the same. And I was like, you know what, honey? Because I call her honey. And I was like, you know what, honey? You're so right. Like, none of it looks the same. So each board has its own different, like, flair and uniqueness to it. And as much as I want to duplicate it, I can't. And to answer your question about, you know, their needs and stuff like that, and how the ordering process works is some might have dietary restrictions, some may be gluten-free, some may be vegan, and that's why we offer those menu items. And I feel like that's why some of the brides feel comfortable working with us, because we're not closed off to those needs and to those dietary restrictions. So it's very modified. And we go through a questionnaire process of, you know, do you have any dietary needs or restrictions? Are there any allergies? Is there anything that we need to be made aware of? And some will say yes, all the above, and some will say no, run with it. Yeah. And
that's always fun.
And that's always fun, yes.
Yeah.
And then some will be so specific to the detail of, I want this and I want this and I want this and it has to have this, and we're like, okay, we got it. We'll go for it.
This episode of Luxe Life Discovered is brought to you in part by Orville's Men's Store. Thank you, Orville's Men's Store, for supplying the men's clothing for today's podcast. For the absolute best in casual and dress wear for men, visit orvillesms.com. That's ORVILLESMS.com.
That's good, because as a wedding planner and event planner, I don't like to duplicate events. So if my goal is always to reflect the personality of the client or the bride, because, you know, some brides will say, well, you know, you just do what you want to do. It's like, it's not my wedding. You know, I want to know what you want, because it's going to mean more to them and it's going to be more special and more enjoyable than to see what somebody thought they should enjoy, you know. And It's amazing how sometimes it's like pulling teeth, though, to get people to do that. But, you know, it works well. So you thought you were enjoying retirement, and now just listening to this last bit of information here, you're not going to be retiring anytime soon.
I told Natalie when she first, you know, when we started talking about Blue Magnolia and all that, I said, Natalie, you know, it's going to be a lot of work, don't you? And then she says, yes. And I told her, it's going to be a lot of work. And then she says, no worries.
Yeah. So you're up for the challenge.
Oh, yes. It's very exciting. It's very exciting, you know, to wake up every single day and have new people to meet, new challenges to, you know, to work with. And it's really exciting, and it is fulfilling.
Well, and, you know, I was excited about just what I've seen on the Instagram posts and everything, and the charcuterie part of it. But to hear about the expansion and then the classes and knowing you do weddings, and that's key to me, because I'll definitely be remembering that. And so it's just so much that goes into when you work with, and you know how this is too, when you work with other professionals, you want to have a group that you know you can depend on, that's going to deliver their best and be their best, because it's a reflection on everybody involved. And so I can't wait to, now tell us where your classes will be, your new location. It's in
Santa Rosa Beach.
Okay.
It's off of Highway 98 in between Seagrove and Inlet Beach. Okay. It's right next to, it's the office building right across the street from Dune Lake Elementary School.
Okay.
So that's our building. We'll be on the first floor, and we'll have, you know, our own space where people can walk in and walk out of, and it'll be a lot of fun.
So you have like items prepared that people can come in and pick up as well?
So
are you going to do that?
As of right now, we don't.
Okay.
But in 2022, when we have that office expansion, yes, that is something that we are.
It's going to be fun to watch you grow and see what all you do come up with, and just to see that your dad's going to be busy for a while. So that's good. No. Well, I'll tell you what, I have thoroughly enjoyed this, and glad we had our little extra time there to share about your new expansion and plans, because that is exciting. And it's always fun to talk with people who are living their passion, because that's what we all want to do. And it's when you enjoy what you're doing, I mean, it is work, but it is work, but it's not work. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's work you enjoy, because there's a difference between working and regretting every minute of it, and working and just truly living what your passion is.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, good. Thank you guys again for being here today. It was a pleasure to meet both of you, and I appreciate you taking the time to come in.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for having us. We enjoyed it.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you again for both being here today. I appreciate your time. And so we thank Nathalie and Jorge Barreto for being with us today, and they have Blue Magnolia, so be sure to follow them on Instagram and check out their website. And we will be back soon with Maggie Matthews with Margaret Allen Bridal in Inland Beach, and so we look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and want to support our show, leave us a review. That's the #1 way to help this show reach others just like you. Join us next time for another Luxe Life Discovered.